Well, earlier you were talking about like the happiness and stuff of being here and being and playing with the trees and stuff like that. Can you talk about the peace?
Well, the peace, if you notice when you came here, as soon as you drove on my property, you were impacted by peace. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't something that was subtle. It was pretty like out there. And you know what that is? That's presence. That's God's presence. And I just feel so honored and so blessed and so humbled that I have the privilege of housing the presence of God. He hangs out here. I just think that is awesome. You know? To be able to host the presence of God, what a privilege. And I think that he knows he's welcome here. He's always honored, glorified. He feels very much at home. He's comfortable here because he gets all the attention, you know? And I just feel, I get agnostics, I get atheists, I get, unbelievers who all comment on the peace. I tell them who it is. He has a name, Jesus. His other name is Prince of Peace. And that's what you're experiencing. I don't care what your worldview is. That's the reality, buddy. And they can't deny it. I had a woman, this couple came here once, they were New Agers. And, my sense is when people come here, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, flat out. And I didn't invite you, and I'm not charging you. And so you're going to get the truth. I don't care where you're coming from, because this is my home. And you asked to come. And so you could see their body language like, ah. But as they progress through the tour and they're eating the food, you find they're reacting less to this God stuff. As she's walking out my grass over here, she stops dead in her tracks and says, man, I can't explain this, but ever since I got here, I've been overwhelmed with the sense of peace. And I told her who it was. And I just know in my spirit that when she went home, she's not going to forget that experience. God impacted her. She had an impact that's going to change her life. I don't know who'll get her, because I got this atheist woman who came from Norway, all the way from Norway. That's a long way.
Yeah.
And she's telling me up front, I'm an atheist. And I always say, well, that's cool. You're gonna have some challenges today, but that's I just tell them right up front. And so she didn't leave till 9 o'clock that night. She's here till 9 o'clock because she's so overwhelmed with God's goodness. And I kept telling her, this is God. This is what he looks like. And I don't care what your worldview is. It's like there's no other explanation. And she just couldn't leave. So I told her when she's left, I said, you know what? God's gonna get you. God's gonna get you, because he's just good.
Yep.
And you can't deny it. So I just feel so blessed because I get this awesome opportunity. So, what's so hilarious about just who I am as a character? I walk out my driveway here every Sunday, and I look at all these cars out here, and I'm totally flipping out. I says, oh, God, what's up with this? See, because my natural order, I would never go to someone's house to go to garden, ever. I would never do that. And I'm thinking, like, is this for real? Why do people come here? Are you kidding? And I go out there and I just say, God, what's up with this? And then he just smiles and says, you'll see. And usually when people do tours, if they have kind of an agenda and the notes, whatever, I come out here totally with no idea what's going to happen. And what's so cool sometimes, people ask me questions. I'm getting this download from heaven, and I'm sharing things I never knew before. I'm saying things I never heard. I'm thinking like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that. And I get that because someone asked. And so like I was telling someone, I'm not tired. This didn't wear me out. I just got blessed because it's in God's economy. It's in giving you receive, not in charging. So I just get to be a channel, just give away God. So it's just like, okay, God, what's up? Today's gonna be a cool day, And everyone's different. It's amazing, all the stuff that happens, and it's just like, it's never boring. Like I got to do that again. Oh no, it's like, wow, we get to do this again, So I did enjoy it. In my spirit, I sense I was made for this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really believe I was created for a time like this to do exactly what I'm doing. And the reality is that God has a book written on every single one of us in heaven, where he, before we were ever created, designed our life to how we were supposed to live. And it's all in a book. So the scripture says the books will be opened. And I really have a sense that I'm really connecting to what God created me to do. And I feel so thankful because I grew up as a kid in Los Angeles and I was so frustrated as I'm maturing. So I'm talking to all these men who hated their jobs, hated them, and couldn't wait to retire. And in my spirit, I'm saying, God, you didn't make us for that. That is not your heart. We were not designed to live like that. And I says, God, I want to find my purpose. I want to know why I was made, because this doesn't get it. And I really feel so blessed that I really believe, I know without a doubt that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to. And I think when the books are open, it's going to line up. And I'm really excited, like, yay God, awesome.
Well, I started to study the end times probably for the first time in my life several years ago, and started to clue into that, and sounds scary and everything, but in the last year watching what you're doing here and learning about it, I'm coming to the conclusion that if you're plugged in and you're doing these kinds of things, it's maybe not going to be that bad.
Well, here's my reality. I want y'all to hear me. The Bible is very clear. It says, it's appointed unto man once to die.
Yep.
We all have an appointment. And nothing's going to change that. Until my appointed time, I'm totally safe.
Yep.
Totally safe. Nothing will take me out prior to my appointed time. And something I'm really experiencing here is the reality of Psalm 91. Psalm 91 is awesome, where it says that I'm under the shadow of the Almighty. And all the evil that's happening all around me is not happening here. And I'm just amazed at how I am feeling so totally sheltered from all the trash that's happening all over the world. You know, when you think what the impact this is having, that I would get responses from Monsanto and these other people, you know. I've received none from anyone. Nothing negative, ever. And I just know, because I'm operating under the influence of the Spirit, doing what I'm supposed to do, that I'm under the shadow of the Almighty. And I'm totally safe. I have nothing to fear. Nothing. And as all this stuff they're talking about is happening all over the planet, all this, it's not my world. And my reality is I'm only a pilgrim stranger here. I really don't belong here. I'm only passing through. And I'm looking forward to going home. It's not like I want to stay here longer than I have to. And so it's all good. It's all good. And again, I love the Word. You know, the Word says faith comes by hearing the Word. As you hear the Word, I'm under the shadow of the Almighty, and I have an appointment. Nothing can change that. It just changes perspective. It causes faith to rise up. I'm okay, and I have nothing to fear. Nothing. You know? I love it. Yay, God.
Amen.
That'll be your next sweatshirt.
Yeah. Yeah, someone made this for me.
That's great. That's perfect sweatshirt to wear during the tours.
Yeah, some sweet woman brought this here. Because I sometimes will say, track with me, man.
Fantastic.
Well, again, I really sense that, you know, God's given me revelation I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And I know it's setting me free. And I want to share it. I want people to be free. Because that's His heart. He wants us to be free. And He paid a big price for us to have it, you know. And He deserves what He paid for. He's worthy.
He's amazing.
Are you tracking at all with this CERN thing in Switzerland? CERN?
CERN? I haven't heard.
Nobody knows anything about CERN?
Well,
This-
it's a
this-
particle accelerator.
Yeah, it's major,
Switzerland,
huge.
right?
In Switzerland, yeah. It's a huge,
Yeah.
incredible thing that's going on. And my sense is it's nothing, the Bible says nothing new under the sun. And this is just the modern day Tower of Babel.
Oh.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah, they want to go through the next realms, you know? It's the Tower of Babel. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ought to check it out. It's pretty huge.
Is that
Yeah.
the one where every day they create a small sun for a couple seconds and
Yeah, they're trying to do it.
Yeah.
They're trying to do.
They're trying
what
to go-
God did.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah,
what the bottom line.
Yeah, it is.
Good luck with that.
And it's just like the Tower of Babel,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
you know?
Same
It's the same thing, you know?
Yeah, same
It's huge, and it's like it's a huge, major,
Oh, it's a huge
big deal.
structure.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, you know, you hear about it, but yeah, it's interesting that because I keep track of,
Mhm.
you know, all the.
But you know, my sense is that you know how God stopped the Tower of Babel, just confounded their language. They couldn't communicate. He's very effective.
Absolutely.
He's, you know, and I told my wife, I says, this won't work.
Yeah.
God won't put up with it, you know.
Yeah.
He hasn't changed.
No, it's this the same situation. I've been studying genetically modified organisms and DNA and all these sorts of things a lot recently that they don't teach you in school. And you realize the satanic influence
Sure.
in all of it.
Yeah, see, you know, genetically modified organisms are a front against God because it's uncreating what God created.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
It's totally uncreating what He created. It's an affront. It's not science. It's an affront against God.
Right. And beyond that, what I found out is when you ask a scientist or whoever's promoting it, why are you modifying? They'll all say, well, we have all these billions of new people that we have to feed, and we have to feed them cheap and all this sort of thing. And I'm thinking, food's not that expensive. We can pay for food and send it this and that. And what I found out is that it's a lie. The reason that they produce GMO is so they can spray it. And the reason they have to spray it is because the soil is so poor. They have to spray it with
Roundup.
Roundup, herbicide, pesticide, fungicide. And they put genes in there that resist all those things. It has nothing to do with feeding poor people in the third world. It's so that they can spray stuff on there and it survives. And you're thinking, why do they have to lie? You know, why do they have to lie about it? Because if people knew what they were doing to the food, they wouldn't eat it.
Well, you know, the animals won't eat they won't eat the genetically modified food. They know better.
Right.
It was interesting. I had a friend who he lives in New Hampshire, and he went to South Carolina to hunt because there's really good hunting there. And he says the power companies there have to maintain all the areas underneath their power lines as part of their, and so they basically turn it into forests.
Right.
He says when you come to these, he says along the edges of the power lines are farms. He says the animals will come to the edge of the power lines, and they will never eat food in the farms.
Oh yeah.
They'll never touch it because they know that it's totally corrupted.
Yeah. No, it's unbelievable. Because the other thing is they'll say, like the very, very, very famous TV scientists are saying the GMO is perfectly safe. They're saying GMO is perfectly safe, and GMO, 85% of it is going into corn syrup. And so when you say GMO is perfectly safe, what you're saying is Twinkies are perfectly safe. That's what you're saying. You're saying Sprite is perfectly safe. You're saying all of that, that's where it goes. You don't, you know, when you go to the produce section, very little of that is GMO, it's all hybrid. But when you go to the processed food, it's all GMO, fructose, soy, and all that sort of thing. The high corn, or what am I trying to say, guys? High fructose corn syrup. Yeah, that one. That's where the GMO is going into, is that stuff. So
And
so
all
when
your
you
animal
say-
feeds, you know,
Yeah,
all
animal, yeah,
Yep.
and the animal stuff is just as bad, if not worse. So.
Even if you're getting like cracked corn.
here's the pathetic thing about cracked corn is that whenever you crack a grain, it dies. Once it's broken, either made into flour or rolled or cracked, it dies. And so you're paying money for dead food. It's huge. And
If you grind the flour, it loses
you
most of
you want to use it immediately. And so I like rolled oats. You know, I have a roller. And when I roll it, I put it in a bowl of water so it stays alive in water. In the morning, it's totally soft like it was cooked. I add maple syrup and raisins. I'm good for the day because it's awesome live food. Again, it's just so amazing how we operate under these influences of lies, having no concept of how deadly it is. And people are out buying, you know, spending money for their animals with cracked grains. That's dead food. They're paying big money for this stuff. And the animals are eating dead food. There's nothing in it.
So, your chickens, you just feed them off of your property.
Totally.
How much, or what do you feed them in the winter?
All that kale. See, kale grows all winter. That's why I grow so much of it, because not only that's just food for my chickens.
So, like a row of kale, like
I have kale. I have had so much. I plant the whole orchard out there. I spread that stuff all over the place. And then I have this other plant over there that Holland greens, because it gets so huge. And then see, then all my weeds. See, everything becomes an asset for my chickens. And so I leave sections of weeds just for chicken feed. You know, so all the stuff in my garden, I'm slowly using it as chicken feed. And see, these are all things as you connect, you start learning how to do. And see my potatoes. You know, he got a whole bunch of potatoes I gave my chickens because I grow too many so I can feed my chickens. So whatever I don't eat, my chickens get.
Okay.
And the reality is my chickens are eating a lot better than most people because the stuff I eat is really good. You know? And again, and so these are the kind of things, and so you learn how many chickens you need, because you don't want to have more chickens than you can provide food for. And so I got a whole bunch of these new chickens this year, and so this winter I had this kind of space where I wasn't having enough food, and so I had a challenge. You know, but the weeds started coming in, and so now I'm okay. But there was definitely these places you're always adjusting and figuring out how to make it, because that's the beauty of God, is that life is not static. You're always learning, always developing, always getting new revelation, because that's Him. And so I'm always looking for these and thankful for these experiences to learn new things. And it doesn't end. It's not static. It's just so cool. You know, I love God.